Good morning and welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show. I really enjoyed that conversation with Jeff Duncan. We're lucky to have access to Jeff because, as I said, I mean, he's not just a columnist, a sports columnist, but he has done incredibly important reporting over the history of incredible sporting events in the New Orleans area. And we're just so lucky to have him. He was a lot of fun to work with, and I'm just privileged to have him on the show with me every Friday. We're very lucky. Walked out this morning, by the way, and I should have said this earlier. Gosh, man, these cool mornings and these beautiful days. As someone said on my outdoor show the other day that we're actually having a spring. Usually it goes from extreme cold to 90 degrees. The last couple of years, we didn't have much of a spring, but we've had a beautiful spring this year. A little bit of showers from that time to time and cool mornings. It's been awesome. It's been awesome. Hey, now I want to invite Scot Fox from WCPR and my buddy, the producer of this show, Cal Curley, into the conversation. We're going to talk about the upcoming CPR Fest. In fact, tomorrow. But anyway, Scott, welcome back, and Cal, thank you for all you do. How you guys doing this morning?
Doing great, Ricky, man. Like you said, weather's perfect, man. This is the perfect time of year.
It sure is. Cal, you're holding it together today. You've had a lot of technical challenges.
Yeah, well, it's, you do what you got to do. Some things work, some things don't. Technology's good. Technology's a pain. Yeah, just keep on rolling.
So, Scott, how I was just actually trying to pull it up here, but what's the weather forecast looking like for the weekend?
Man, well, as you can imagine, we're watching it very closely. But the last I saw this morning was basically 50%. So we're hoping maybe by tomorrow that'll go down just a little bit. And if we get some rain, maybe it'll be quick and run through, and then we'll just enjoy the rest of the day. It doesn't look like anything major.
Yeah, it says mixed clouds and sun with scattered thunderstorms. But man, you guys have a really good lineup this year. It's going to be awesome. And ticket sales have been good. It's going to be a great event, isn't it?
It's going to be fantastic, man. I mean, for the lineup, every year we go through making a list of the bands that kind of like a wish list, right? And some of the bands I know I can't put on there because they are just way, way expensive, right? Like the Chili Peppers would be too much. But anyway, I go through this list. I sit down with Kenny Vest, and we start knocking them out and researching. Is this band playing that weekend? The weekend of our fest. Where are they? Are they on this side of the country? Can we bring them in? How much would they cost? And I also try to look at bands that maybe we haven't had through this area on a regular basis. Bands that our listeners might prefer to see. I don't want to hear them say, "Oh man, you're bringing these guys back again." So go after those type of bands. And I'll tell you, this year we really did that, man. And it's a great lineup.
So for headliners, you can talk about each one of them, and then we'll go back and talk about the day's events. But the headliners are?
The headliners are going to be playing inside the Coliseum, and there's three bands. Another Day Dawns, who is traveling with the two headliners, Bush and Breaking Benjamin.
And Breaking Benjamin, that's a great catch, isn't it?
Breaking Benjamin is huge right now, and they're actually the headline act of the show, which some people might think Bush would be. I think maybe they're kind of co-headliners, but Breaking Benjamin is super popular.
Well, it's interesting because they've been kind of slowly. These guys, to be successful, they got to be willing to hang in there. They got to write great music. It's hard to become a headliner these days, isn't it?
It is, but they have a formula, and like every song they come out with ends up being a hit. It's kind of like Shinedown, just song after song after song after song, and next thing you know, wow, we've got all these hits, and everybody loves to come see them. So, and they don't make it to this area very often.
Kyle, if you think back over the time, and you've been involved in CPR Fest for a bunch of years, I would say that Kenny and Scott and team have done a really good job of keeping the spice there. As he pointed out, not letting it just become a monotonous, okay, they're going to be back this year, but really finding the great music, which is one of the reasons CPR is the top radio station on the coast. Is they are so good at selecting music. They know the bands, but that's been it's been fun watching that over many years, hasn't it?
It has been. Every station has its ups and downs, but I think the combination of Scott and Kenny together keeps those peaks and valleys at a minimum. I think, over the years, we went through, there was some time without Kenny, there was some time without Scott, and I think if you look back at the overall trajectory of the station, success, money, advertising-wise, I think you can really tell out, you could look at it on a graph and say, yeah, this is where one of them or both are gone at the station. And, it really affected everything. So I think the two of them together has been a successful formula. And it's just one of those things that it's hard to pinpoint how it happens or why it happens, but it did. It happened for a great reason. And it's definitely been a tremendous asset for the company. That's for sure.
Well, Scot Fox, you think about it for a second. As you and I have talked about before, maybe some of the listeners of this show haven't heard us talk about it, but one of the unique approaches that you and Kenny have taken has been every week you sit down and you look at new music that's coming around, and you have a very specific way that you like to go about selecting the music that's going to play on WCPR. You don't want headbanger music. You want really good rock and roll. You want to be able to grab the new music and bring it down. Oftentimes you guys are ahead of the curve a lot because of your ability to see that. But when you translate it to something like the CPR Fest and your knowledge of the bands and what might be popular and what people might want to see, it's a magic formula. And I'll say one other thing. One of the great things about SuperTalk Mississippi Media and I've said it a 1,000 times on this show, but while radio stations are getting conglomerated and pushed to a sort of a national voice and losing touch with the ability to do what you and Kenny do, select music, find great acts for something like the CPR Fest, when you add it together, it's a winning formula for SuperTalk Mississippi Media, and it's exciting to be a part of that, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And like you said, it's a formula. And somehow, Kenny and I, like Kyle said, we're on the same wavelength, right? So, and I think I had mentioned this to you before. When I listen to new music that comes across, it all comes to me first, right? And I'll listen to it, and sometimes I'll even test Kenny to see if we're still on that same wavelength. I think he's going to hate this song. Let me play it for him and just see what he says. All right. Yeah, he hates it. All right, or the other way, he loves it. He's going to love this song. Let me check with him. So sometimes, we find hits that way, and we may jump out on a song that nobody else is playing. We've done that several times. Yeah.
Yes, it's really interesting. What I always like to put everything in proper context, but you think about the fact that you guys have been here for so long doing what you do, selecting music, and now having CPR Fest again after being down for a short period of time. Having CPR Fest, to me, it's sort of an extension of where we are as a multimedia company, because you've got a successful radio station, and you've got the digital extension of that through social media, et cetera. You have your own morning show, which is, you just don't start your own morning show in this day and time. All those morning shows are being driven these days on a national level. And then the natural extension of that into CPR Fest through an event. That's hitting on every cylinder from a multimedia point of view, and it's pretty cool to be a part of that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very cool to be a part of that. And one thing that CPR has always had is live and local, the two words that everybody talks about, but not many people can do. And we've been able to keep it live and local all these years. These big companies, our competitors out there, they're buying up all these radio stations. They're getting rid of their live and local talent, and they're making somebody in New York program the stations down in, Louisiana, Mississippi. And guess what? It's not working out so well for them. So we're very happy to have the group ownership that we have right now. We're able to keep it live and local. We, like you said, we have our own morning show. I mean, who does that anymore these days, right?
I feel the same way. I feel the same way about my show. Who does what they did with me anymore? Go grab someone like me with the career that I had and ask me to come out of retirement and do a show like the Ricky Matthews Show that is focused on the local community. that takes a lot of vision, and they understand that if they can connect with the community, be involved in the community, be attached to the community, that business success will come from that. And it's just an amazing thing to watch. And then I look at Kyle, who's the producer of this show. I mean, think about Kyle, who has operations experience, IT experience, does the music in the Superdome during Saints games, I always like to say. But, he's producing a video show that plays on SuperTalk TV and YouTube and Facebook. Kyle, it's been fun from your perspective to learn all these new skills, hasn't it?
It really has, and we got about 40 seconds left. But, yeah, I've really enjoyed the whole ride. I mean, to say, especially where it comes to CPR and what the station means to the Gulf Coast area, how we do CPR Fest, to say that I was there from the beginning along with Scott and Kenny. It's been a good ride, and really not looking forward to end anytime soon either.
No, I don't think it will. Hey, when we come back with Kyle and Scott, we'll talk about what's going on during the day at the CPR Fest. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the show. I have the producer of the Ricky Matthews Show, Kyle Curley, and then Scot Fox, who works with WCPR and has for a bunch of years. When I look at Scott, and I can see him through the video, and even Kenny for that matter, I see two guys that are ageless, literally ageless. Now you did say at the last show, Scott, that your memory is not as good as it used to be, but you look great. Let me say that you look great. Hey, listen, if you go back in time over the CPR, I want to say WCPR, but over CPR Fest, you see so many milestones. I mean, one of the most important milestones probably was the discovery of Three Doors Down. And of course, the conversation I had with Brad Arnold, got viewed like 50,000 times. I got a note from a girl in Russia who watched the show and had, wanted to comment about it. And then, of course, we did a show later after that when Brad joined us to discuss the history of CPR Fest. But, that was a big milestone. But there have been other milestones along the way. What kind of sticks out in your mind, Scott?
Man, I mean, Three Doors Down is a big one. By the way, did you tell Brad to cut his hair?
Yeah, he grew it back, didn't he?
We're not used to seeing Brad with long hair, man. He's that hometown image. But, Three Doors Down is awesome. I mean, there's several bands that we've helped out along the way. I mean, think about Sister Hazel, how big they are these days. Sister Hazel came to us in a Volkswagen van. They pulled up to the radio station when we were on Courthouse. And, man, they got started with us. So many other bands have come through our doors. And like we talked about earlier, the music that gets sent to us, we'll play it. We may find something that sticks out and jump onto it, like we did that with this band called the Glorious Sons, who ended up having the number one song of 2019 for 5 weeks. They were on the number one spot. That just doesn't happen. That happened with, who is it? Ramon Ayala, it's the name of the song. Who is it, Kyle? Giovanni and the Hired Guns.
Yeah,
Giovanni and the Hired Guns. Sorry. I was slipping my mind there, Ricky. And anyway, same thing with them. We started playing that song. It blew up nationwide for them, too. So
Kyle, what stands out to you? One of the things probably stands out to you is the large crowds.
Yeah, I mean, the large crowds, I think even go back a few years, even to the beginning on some of the other bands, some of the big bands that we were on early and had them here when they were in a van was Creed.
Yeah.
Remember Creed when we had played, what was the bar called? It was their
Knockouts.
Was it called Yeah. I mean,
I think it was, yeah.
So, I almost kind of forgot where we were going. I had the Creed thing in my mind.
That's okay. But Scott, you think about, the days so the first stage gets kicked off around 12:30 on Saturday. Why don't you take us through each of the bands after that?
Okay, so the first two bands are going to be playing are local bands, and they had a competition through Kevin Harris on our homegrown show. So Code for Canvas is a local band, and then Love to Hate is the other local band. By the way, Love to Hate has a great street team. They're out there pounding the pavement like crazy. Then the first national band will take the stage at 1:50. It's Des Rocks, and this kid is really good, man. Kenny Vest says he kind of reminds him of Freddie Mercury, if you could think about that. And I just saw him a few weeks ago in Las Vegas. I mean, an unbelievable show. So he's going to bring it. There's a band after him at 2:40 called The Violent. They used to be called Red Sun Rising. They had a bunch of hits as Red Sun Rising. Something happened there, and they reformed as a band called The Violent. They're going to be very good. Then there's a band called Crowbot, which kind of reminds me of a Soundgarden vibe. This guy, I mean, he can straight up sing. So if you like good, it kind of sounds like that Southern rock sound. Come check out Crowbot. Then we'll have Saliva. Most people know who Saliva is. And then 5:20 p.m., this guy named Aaron Jones, who to me reminds me of kind of a mix between Jimi Hendrix and Lenny Kravitz. And I hear his shows are just unbelievable. So we're looking forward to seeing him. And then at 6 p.m., the doors will open inside the arena. Everybody goes inside for Another Day Dawns, Bush, and Breaking Benjamin.
So, yeah, by the time they get in there, if they've had a nice sunny day and been enjoying some beverages, by the time they get inside the Coliseum, it ought to be rocking, wouldn't you think?
Oh, it's going to be unbelievable, yeah. And by the way, you can bring a lawn chair and a blanket in with you, one per person, and then they'll allow you to take that back out to your car before you go inside the Coliseum.
But you have to get stamped. You have to get stamped before you go out. And
make sure you hold on to that ticket all day.
So, okay, so Scott, let's take care of some of the details. Someone who's not been to the CPR Fest in a long time, and they hear this lineup and they say, you know what? I got some time Saturday. I'm gonna go back and reminisce how much I enjoyed that and hear some great music. What do they need to do?
First of all, get ready to pay for either $5 or $10 for parking at the Coliseum. Know that that's happening. Okay, that's every event at the Coliseum. You have to pay for parking. Then get your ticket, get your lawn chair. You're not going to be able to bring food or drinks inside with you, but you can bring a blanket. You can bring a lawn chair. Come on in, find a spot. We'll have food vendors out there, drink vendors out there. We'll have, of course, merch vendors for the bands and stuff all set up outside. Walk around, have a good time, man. You know, I don't think if it rains, I don't think it's going to be real bad. Hopefully it'll pass right through, and we'll be ready for a long, good day of some really good music outside. And then at some point, you'll take your stuff back out to your car and head inside.
Hey, so the stage location will be very much like it was for the Crawfish Festival in that basic area underneath the oak trees. Is that where it's going to be set up?
Yeah, it should be right in the same spot we always have it every year, right by that south side entrance.
Yeah.
Stretch.
Yeah, 1 minute left.
Yeah, I rode through there the other day on my bike, actually. It was early morning I came through there and did a video of the setup for the Crawfish Festival. But that is a great little venue right there, man. Looking out over the beach and with the big live oaks. Man, it's amazing they were able to save those live oaks when they built the Coliseum. But whoever made that decision, they made a great job. They made a great decision. But it's a wonderful outdoor venue, isn't it?
It's perfect. Yeah, it's going to be perfect, man. And it's beautiful out there, like you said, right across from the beach, man. So a lot of great memories have been made there at CPR Fest, and there's going to be some more great memories this year. I can guarantee it. The music is going to be top notch.
Well, look, I've had Matt McDonald on the show many, many times. I've even joined him and his team for the judge to sort of get a behind-the-scenes look at what they do and how they do it. It's a great team, man. What they do there is remarkable. But Matt's a good partner for an effort like this, isn't he?
Yeah, Matt is unbelievable. Matt's got a team that just makes this thing so easy for us on that side of things, man. I mean, they are on it. The production and his guys that he's got running around, they know what they're doing. This is not their first rodeo, right? So they've done this many times, and they're on top of it. So,
one of the things one of the things that was really interesting about what they've done is that they can never stand still when you're in the world that they're in. You got to constantly be upping your game from a technology and support point of view. Bands expect certain capabilities, and they've been constantly investing in capital investments at the Coliseum so that bands have what they expect. In fact, for a matter of fact, that if they didn't have some of these capabilities, they wouldn't be able to get some of the bands that they get. And so they've been on the cutting edge. In fact, I noticed the other day that the team did something on just a video board that they had been having trouble with, and they did some innovation around that, and now they've been able to fix that somewhere in the lobby of the Coliseum. But it's a very innovative team. Matt gives his team tremendous delegation power. Michelle does such a good job. The team just really works well together. And this association with you guys has been going on, with the exception of a few down years. It's been going on for a long time, hasn't it?
We got to wrap
It's been
up.
going on many years. Yeah, we've been working with Matt, and then before Matt, it was Bill. And Matt was there. So, for a long time, we've had a great partnership. Yeah.
Okay. Well, looks, Scot Fox, I enjoyed having you today. Thank you for joining us, Kyle. Go to the CPR Fest tomorrow. You'll be glad you did. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday.